Good evening, everyone. Deputy Mayor Sheila Christie, I'd like to call this meeting to order. We will start with a territorial acknowledgement. We'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is a traditional unceded territory of Mi'kmaq peoples. Before we get on with the meat of the agenda and meeting, we'd like to express our So we also have the minutes from January 24th, 2022. So has everybody had a chance to read those? And if there's no errors or additions, I'd ask for a motion for approval. Councillor Bothrow,
Yes, I move acceptance of the minutes.
do we have a seconder? Councillor Landry,
Yes, I'll second.
thank you. So we're on for requests of decisions. The first one is 4.1, signing authority policy amendment, and I'll call on Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Council. Signing authority policy amendment. The signing authority of policy currently states that the state signing officer of the town shall be the mayor, the deputy mayor, designated councilor, or anyone, and the chief administrative officer and the chief financial officer. As the chief financial officer position is currently vacant, adding the treasurer will allow accurate signing authority and increase oversight. Therefore, the signing authority policy 03400-1 needs to be updated to add the position treasurer, the pose of the policy to currently sign the authority for the town. Checks required and signatures, one elected official, deputy mayor, designated councilor, and other administration official. Currently, either the chief minister officer or the chief financial officer is now treasurer. Madam Chair, your worship, and members of council, that council approved the amendment to the town of Amherst signing authority policy 0403400-1 to add the treasurer for all documents signed under the seal of the town of Amherst and for the signing officer of checks, bank documents, and etc. I so move, your Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Emery. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any contrary minded? Thank you. The next motion before us is grass maintenance policy, and that is myself. The policy was adopted in April 2007 and is now in need of some revisions. Staff will soon be planning spring and summer maintenance activities as part of the review of all the policies of council. Policy number 64000-01, grass maintenance, is being brought forward for discussion. Upon review, there has been no significant changes being recommended to the policy at this time. The current policy uses the terms high, medium, and low priority to define the service standard for grass maintenance. Staff are recommending changing the language in the policy to level 1, 2, and 3 service level expectations. This will provide consistency with other policies that define service delivery standards. Appendix A of the policy was revised accordingly, and the list of priorities contained in the appendix was revised to reflect any new properties or sites and remove those that are no longer owned or maintained by the town. The motion before us is that council approve the amendments to the grass maintenance policy. Do I have a seconder?
Second, Madam Chair.
Councillor Baker. Is there any further discussion on the motion? If not, we will go to a vote by signify saying aye. Any contrary
Aye.
minded? Thank you. The next order of business is 4.3 capital budget amendments, water and fire, and that's Councillor Davison.
Thank you very much. On the capital budget amendments, when the water capital budget was approved on April 26, 2021, the funding for the monitoring wells, well field generator, water main replacement on Spring Street, and a new dump truck was to be from the long-term debt in the water utility. It has since been determined that our water depreciation fund has a sufficient balance to pay for these projects and maintain a sufficient balance at the end of the year. Utilizing water depreciation funding for these projects instead of long-term debt will save approximately $215,000 in interest costs over the life of the debenture. Also included in the current capital budget is an amount of $30,000 for fire hose replacement. These products were procured and an additional $22,000 is required to purchase all of the required hose. As this additional amount can be accommodated within the current year's operating budget, it is recommended that all of the required hose be purchased at this time. I would therefore like to make the motion that council approve of the following changes to the 2021-22 capital budget. Change in funding source in the water capital budget. A, withdraw from the water depreciation fund $632,000 to fund the following water capital projects. $40,000 for monitoring wells from the carryover. $240,000 for the well field generator carryover. $177,000 for Spring Street, Croft to Church, water main replacement, and $175,000 for a new dump truck. The second change would be a change approved budget amount in the general capital budget. Increase the budget for fire suppression hose, set number 1, replacement from $30,000 to $52,000.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for the motion?
I second the motion.
Councillor Emery. Is there any further discussion on the motion? If not, we'll go to a vote. Those in agreement signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
contrary minded? Motion passes. 4.4 challenge fund, Councillor Emery.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, Your Worship, members of council. In 2021, the town entered into an agreement with the Nova Scotia Department of Environment under the Canada Nature Fund for funding up to $1,352,020 to secure land in and around the North Tyndall Wellfield for protection. The 3 transactions listed below will add over 380 acres of land for protection in this area. So the motion is that council approve of the 3 attached agreements to purchase the following properties paid for under the Nature Challenge Fund. The first one, Lansdowne Forestry Management Limited, Green Road for $120,000 plus any applicable HST. Number 2, Silvatech Limited, Green Road for $94,000 plus any applicable HST. Number 3, Kim Kelly Lot, 2002-2 Beecham Road for $82,000 plus any applicable HST. And further, that council authorize the mayor and CAO to sign the applicable agreements on their behalf. I so move.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Counselor Landry?
Yes, I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion before us? If not, we'll go to a vote. Those in agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Motion passes. 4.5, Church and Davison Street. Counselor Fothrop, please.
Deputy Mayor, members of council, sale of town-owned lands, Church and Davison Street. An offer has been received by the owner of the adjacent property to purchase 138 Church Street and an adjacent lot located at 21 Davison Street. Portions of the subject properties are located in the floodplain zone where development is prohibited. As such, the properties are considered non-usable under policy 2300-02, as the developable area does not meet the minimum requirements of the land use bylaw. The two adjacent property owners were given an opportunity to make offers on the subject properties, with the condition of the sale being that the lands be consolidated with adjacent properties. One offer was received from Rodney and Pamela Gray, owners of 136 Church Street. The other adjacent property owner on Davison Street was not interested in purchasing any of the subject lands. On June 22nd, 2021, council indicated a willingness to sell 138 Church Street for $5,100. The Grays agreed to this amount and offered to purchase 21 Davison Street, applying the same evaluation formula for a total selling price of $7,300 for both properties. Motion that the sale of town properties located at 138 Church Street and 21 Davison Street for the amount of $7,300 plus any applicable HST be approved by council, and further that the mayor and the CEO be authorized to sign the corresponding purchase and sale agreement. I so move.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for the motion? Counselor Davison?
Yes, I'd like to second the motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
Deputy Mayor, we had talked about when this was being sold that there would be a clause put into the agreement that they know that it's on floodland, so the town would be responsible. Will that be directed to the owners?
Okay, we'll direct that to our CAO.
Yes, it will, Councillor Baker.
Is there any other further discussion on the topic? If not, we'll put it to a vote. Those in agreement signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary-minded? Motion passes. 4.6, Intermunicipal Poverty Reduction Advisory Committee, Citizen Appointments, Councillor Landry.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. In late 2022, the councils of the town of Amherst, town of Oxford, and the municipality of Cumberland each approved a joint terms of reference for this committee. Under the terms of reference for this committee, it states, applications for community representatives will be solicited using radio, newspaper, social media, and municipal websites. Interested citizens and organizations will be invited to submit a letter of interest and experience. The staff and council members appointed to the committee will review the applications and recommend the community representatives to the respective municipal council for approval. The following motion, Deputy Mayor, that council approve the appointments of Evelyn Pollard and Karen LeBlanc as the town of Amherst citizen representatives for the Intermunicipal Poverty Reduction Advisory Committee for one-year terms expiring March 31st, 2023. So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Bothra?
Yes, I wish to second the motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the topic? If not, we'll put it to a vote. Those in agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any contrary-minded? Motion is passed. We're on to 4.7, Wellfield Generators, and that is for me. The project was originally approved in 2020-21 water utility capital budget for an RFP for engineering services was issued to size a single propane generator suitable to power the production wells in the chlorinated building. Consultant was recently provided staff with a preliminary project report, which includes various options for the generators, and asked the town to provide feedback. Upon review, it has become apparent that further direction was required prior to proceeding with the final generating design. Based on the information provided in the preliminary report, staff provided 3 possible options for council to consider and have recommended the purchase of 1 new towable diesel fuel generator to upgrade the 4 projection wells, which will also help alleviate turbidity issues currently being experienced within our water system. The motion before us is the council amend the original scope of work to the wellfield generator project and approve option 3, the purchase of 1 new towable diesel fuel generator and upgrade the 4 production wells at the North Tyndall Wellfield and VFDs. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Davison,
Yes, I'd like to second that motion.
is there any further discussion on the motion? If not, we'll put it to a vote. Those in agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion passes. We're now on to information items. Item number 5.1, Cumberland Community Youth Development Center update. Councillor Landry.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This is from a representative from Maggie's Place who works at the Youth Center, Melanie Cove, and I'll read the letter. Honorable Mayor, councillors, and staff. Throughout the pandemic, youth have been left to their own devices in many ways. Youth came together to create their own connections, and quite often, without the presence of adult guidance, leading to destructive and illegal activities. Once our Community Youth Development Center was open, staff were able to reconnect with these youth and bring them back to a safe environment. Youth who were once defacing public property were now sitting, playing games with adult facilitators, helping to put together new furniture, paint walls, and making the center a place of their own. No longer searching for that connection elsewhere in the community. As the youth have reconnected with the adults they encounter at the Youth Development Center, they are more aware of their presence out in the community. Prior to COVID restrictions, we were able to host 1 open youth drop-in every youth drop-in evening with 37 youth attending that evening. Once restrictions were implemented, we kept our numbers to 10 youth at a time and consistently saw a wonderful group of youth who really seemed to enjoy their time in the center. Besides the regular facilitators, we were lucky to have both community volunteers who came and did cooking with our youth, but also community partners such as Natasha Galloway from Restorative Justice, Michelle Harrison and Melanie Siddle from APD, and several Maggie's Place staff spent time connecting with youth when restrictions allowed. Having 10 students from Mount Allison choose to do their work placement at the center gave the youth more people to connect with. The Mount A students also chose to work on projects for us, such as clothing exchange and a Christmas party for our youth, which was funded by their university class. Youth who used the center participated in the Town of Amherst Christmas Parade. In November, the Youth Development Center received an additional staff member whose role is the community youth outreach worker. This person connects with youth who are aging out of the foster care system and are getting ready to make decisions to support them as self-sufficient adults. This program has made great connection with other programs such as Schools Plus and Cumberland Mental Health and Addictions. Often staff from mental health bring clients to the Youth Development Center to check it out and create connections for the youth, giving them options of another safe space to spend their time. Since being open, staff at the Youth Development Center have worked with several youth in crisis, in particular, youth who have housing issues. We have been able to provide food, toiletries, clothing, a place to cook food, shower, and do laundry, not to mention a listening ear and creating connections to other town agencies. Recently, the English as a Second Language program has decided to use space in the center for their classroom time. They look forward to being able to have larger group time and taking advantage of the beautiful kitchen. This will be a great opportunity for local youth to create connections with our international community. Tours have been given to Town of Amherst staff and council, Schools Plus, Cumberland Mental Health and Addictions, Amherst Police Department, the Anglican Church, EBC Guidance Counselor, Alternative High School Instructor, as well as members of the Cumberland Community Partners Committee. There are tours scheduled for both Cumberland North and Spring Street Academy pending regulation changes. Virtual presentations about the center and what it has to offer have been given to Cumberland Partners and Department of Community Services staff. One of the service gaps has been male mentorships and engagement opportunities. We are excited to announce that starting this week, Josh Best will be joining the team to fill that gap. Despite all the restrictions, the space has been well used and connections for youth are being made. Without the support of town council and staff, this would not have been possible. Respectfully submitted on behalf of staff and volunteers, Melanie Cove, Cumberland Community Youth Development Center Program Coordinator.
Thank you, Councillor Landry.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful service that's provided to our community, and I know it's only going to grow as they start to develop and grow, and we start moving out of COVID times. So thank you. We're going to move on to internal committee reports, and the first one is the Planning Advisory Committee. The Planning Advisory Committee met on Monday, February the 7th at 4 p.m. by Zoom. The agenda included review of the details and feedback from the public participation opportunity regarding a development agreement application for 3-building 154-unit apartment complex proposed on the vacant property south of E.B. Chandler School. In its role as steering committee for the MPS, or Municipal Planning Strategy Renewal Project, Upland Planning and Design met with the committee to launch the project and further input on the development of an engagement strategy. And follow-up meeting is scheduled for February the 28th at 4 p.m. today, which we just finished that prior to these meetings. With the draft engagement strategy was reviewed and confirmed, and there'll be future details on that. Thank you. Did anyone have any questions on that? The next thing is the Amherst Board of Police Commissioners, and that meeting was canceled and to be rescheduled. Auto committee was not scheduled at this time, so we'll now have a report from our youth town council, and we want to welcome Oscar Sigtrickson.
Hello.
Thank you.
So this month, the Amherst Youth Town Council met on February 15th at 3:05 p.m. in the ARHS library. We discussed possible ideas for future goals and projects for the town. For instance, possibly making a second dog park and/or a second outdoor skating rink for coming winters. We also talked about the benefits and possible difficulties of setting up these areas and where the best locations would be. However, we haven't really come up with any ideal locations. The other subjects we touched on are the problems with the AYTC selection dates. We came to the conclusion that it's worth considering making the expression of interest available earlier, possibly in March or May. In addition, sending out the positions to each person earlier would give people more time to prepare. This would benefit the Youth Town Council by allowing meetings to start earlier in the year so that we would have more time to accomplish more goals. The next AYTC meeting will be held at the ARHS Library on Monday, the 21st of March at 3:05 p.m.
Thank you, Oscar. I think that's a great suggestion about the timing of the committees, and I think that's something we can have a look at with our internal bylaws. I know that some other committee members have approached me as well, and it feels like you're just starting and stopping, starting and stopping. You're not really having continual. So that would be something that we could definitely take under advisement. Is there any other comments on Oscar's report?
Just one question, Deputy Mayor. How many members do you have on your committee? How many committee members?
I believe we have 11 members at the moment.
11. Is that how many you're allowed to have on the committee, or you're allowed up to 12, or
I'm pretty sure we're allowed up to 12.
11? Thank you very much. Great report.
Thank you.
Okay, any further comments? Councillor Baker, your mic's still on. Thank you. No problem. So our next committee report is 6.5, Inclusion, Diversity and Equity Committee. Councillor Davison.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Christie. First of all, I'd like to point out in the discussion with Councillor Emery, Vice Chair of the committee, that we're extremely impressed with the quality and input of commitment by the following council appointed community members to inclusion, diversity, and equity within the town of Amherst. And that would include Tammy Drew, Holly Martin, Tammy Giro, Jolene Gochi, and Rochelle Howlett. We held our first meeting on February 17th. This is our first formal meeting. And we had, I also would be remiss if I did not mention the support from the staff in this renewed commitment and related to our priorities in terms of inclusion for the town of Amherst. Items on the agenda included the African Heritage Month poster and essay contest. We'll be making those presentations this week of the winners, and discussions related to the council's previous decision regarding the Mi'kmaq flagpole and the renaming of Lord Amherst Drive. We hope to have recommendations to council on those issues back within the next 2 to 3 months. The committee's also was presented with a copy of the Municipality of the County of Kings Towards Equity and Diversity, a strategy for belonging in the municipality of the County of Kings, for their information and review. And basically what we're going to be looking at is the methodology that was used for that particular strategy. And rather than reinventing the wheel, we'll be looking at what aspects from that study we can use in terms of implementation for the town of Amherst in terms of a blueprint. So we were all very, I think it was a good feeling after the meeting, and the future looks very bright for the town of Amherst in that regard. If there's any questions or comments. Thank you very much.
No problem. I was just wondering, when did you say your next meeting is?
Our next meeting, we haven't put a specific
Okay.
date, but it'll be before the end of March.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes the internal committee reports. The external committee reports, 7.1, Cumberland Public Libraries, Councillor Fothra.
Yes, Deputy Mayor, members of council. Cumberland Public Libraries report for February. Rapid test. Cumberland Public Libraries has handed out over 8,000 test kits to the public. Currently, the library is receiving weekly shipments, and I believe it's every Wednesday that they receive a new shipment. It's amazing the number of people who are picking up test kits. Dolly Parton Imagination Library. A Cumberland County resident is trying to create a Dolly Parton Imagination Library. The library has offered to support this by taking care of the database of children who will receive books. March break. March break planning and prep are well underway. We will be virtual again this year, but we're looking forward to possibly going back to in-person programming in the summer. Statistics. In the month of December, Cumberland Public Library signed out over 5,565 items, 2,258 items in Amherst alone. This includes books, movies, TV shows, magazines, and more. Also in December, Forefathers Library offered 8 virtual programs with 173 views and distributed 64 take and make crafts. The Forefathers Library had 2,335 in-person visits. All right, our next board meeting is April the 19th. Thank you, Your Worship.
Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Davidson?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. I was just wondering if you could explain what the Dolly Parton Imagination Library is.
It's a program started by the Dolly Parton Foundation. And if you know anything about Dolly Parton, you know that she grew up very poor. And so it was part of the mission to bring more opportunities for books and materials to children. And so that's part of the process.
Thank you. Very interesting. Our next external committee report is the Cumberland YMCA. It's Councillor Fothra again.
Yes, the YMCA, February 2022. With the new regulations that started February 14th, Friday Night Fun began again on Friday, February 18th, and will continue until April the 1st, 2022. Registration has started for all of our programs for September 2022. Our total active members are 925. 112 members have expired and need to be renewed as of today. Total subsidized members, 99. The introduction membership, first month, $20 for adults and $50 for families when signing up as a continuous member. 16 customers have taken advantage so far. And just as a comparison, the members of council, before COVID, we were around 1,200 members, and we had about 150 some members who were subsidized. So we're not that far off from pre-COVID numbers. All fall aquatic program resumed as of February the 17th. Bronze awards progressing, of course, is next planned and with an end date of March, and we've already done that. Actually, it's in the process. Every year we lose a crop of lifeguards because they graduate, as Oscar will next year. And so what happens is we have to make sure that we have another group coming on because it's a very demanding program. New group fitness schedule started February 22nd. The class size is increasing. We're currently operating at 75% capacity, which means 22 people downstairs and 12 in the cardio room and 8 in the studio. Mom and baby strength class being offered as a program starting the end of February. The class is currently at full capacity with 7 registrants. Planning is underway for the spring fitness programming. Fall sessions of Dance Dance have been credited and will be offered for those interested in the April session. Coldest night of the year took place February 26th. It was in person. The 5-kilometer walk started and finished at the Y with everything taking place outdoors. No formal gathering, just a quick check-in and 2 pickup and then send the walkers off. 22 teams registered, which is the most that we've had so far. Kids Get Cooking started on Thursday, February the 17th. Monica and Ellen have found a professionally trained chef to facilitate the cooking videos, and the food boxes will be created by staff at the Y and picked up by program participants at the Y. Monica conducted a game and bling presentation with Schools Plus staff on February the 17th. It will be done virtually, and we anticipate up to 15 people attending. We are confident that this will get the program more awareness and increase its visibility in the school system, which will lead to more webinar bookings. So endeth the report.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Councillor Bothra? I just wanted to say hats off to all those that braved, because it was the coldest night of the year the other night. And it's great to have that many turnout. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing our community does. Thank you. So our next committee report is Solid Waste Management, Councillor Emery.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, Your Worship, members of council. The Extended Producer Responsibility, EPR, targeted consultation has started with regards to extended producer responsibility. Ashley David with the Nova Scotia Department of Environment and Labor presented to both the regional coordinators and regional chairs the week of January 24th. Nova Scotia Environment and Labor is accepting feedback through their feedback portal until April 11th. Expanded EPR. Nova Scotia Environment is also looking for feedback on whether municipalities support expanding EPR to include the following items: expanded electronics, floor, garment, countertop appliances, personal care appliances, etc. Batteries, rechargeable and single-use batteries, less than 5 kilograms, lighting, including most electric lamps. Diversion credits. Divert Nova Scotia will be issuing 5.5 million this year, the 2021-22, in diversion credits with a projected 5 million to be issued next year, 22-23. We received our advance payment in August, and the final payment will be issued when the data call numbers are finalized, which should be shortly. The 300 kilogram target. As you may recall, the Environmental Goals and Climate Change Reduction Act mentions reducing solid waste disposal rates to no more than 300 kilograms per person by 2030. And that plan with specific actions needs to be developed by 2023 to meet this goal. The regional chairs made a motion to allow the Priorities Committee to work towards developing a realistic plan to reach the 300 kilogram capita disposal target. As a province, we currently have a disposal rate of approximately 403 kilograms. We have not received any update on this as the focus the last few weeks has been with EPR. Solid Waste Hotline. In the month of January, the hotline received 342 calls. The majority of the calls were related to collection as it relates to the weather. Social media. Working towards engaging the public more through social media, and it has started. Weekly with What Goes Where Facebook posts. The following topics were most recently communicated to residents. What Goes Where Holiday Edition, What Goes Where Sharps Disposal, Winter Collection Reminders, What Goes Where Styrofoam, What Goes Where Milk Cartons. Enforcement. Audits have started to take place throughout the county with a total of 350 complete to date. Of the 350 audits that took place, 47 were rejections, with over 20 being rejected for non-dual stream recycling. It's anticipated that the audits will start in the town of Amherst in February. Education. Work continues with the recycling facility supervisor to try and educate businesses that bring in non-compliant loads to the facilities in Little Forks. We are on track to meeting our requirement for the Divert Nova Scotia education contract. The regional coordinators have developed a provincial ad on the proper disposal of lithium batteries. As we know all too well, they can be dangerous when not disposed of properly. We will be issuing an RFP for the collection and disposal of household hazardous waste. And that's the end.
Thank you. Is there any questions, Councillor Baker?
Deputy Mayor to Councillor Emery, you said 300 kilogram per person. I think that's 300 kilogram per household, is it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Household. Okay, thank you very much.
Is there any other questions? I was just wondering on the enforcement side, is it just more of an education for enforcement at this time, a sticker for rejection, or is there penalties, or what's that process look like?
Yes, I believe so. So the rejection stickers go on the cans or whatever they have out. And they have to do the dual stream. So that means that people are mixing in their cardboard with their containers, and their cardboard and paper with their containers. So it needs to be separated.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any further questions? If not, our next one is LA Animal Shelter.
Yes, Deputy Mayor Christie, members of council, LA Animal Shelter. In January, the shelter adopted out 45 animals, 40 were cats and 5 were dogs. As of February 17th, 9 cats and 3 dogs were adopted. We currently have 3 dogs and 27 cats housed at the shelter. 4 cats are there through the Safe Pet program in conjunction with Autumn House for those fleeing domestic violence. The shelter received approximately $8,000 from the Betty White Day fundraiser. It was a tremendous success. Hopefully this event will be successful in future years. The shelter has applied for a federal summer student grant for a vet tech student. Hopefully we'll be able to move forward with hiring a student into this important role. Despite the pandemic, the shelter remains in a solid financial position. Discussion is ongoing for options for capital projects to improve the facility for the animals, to make it safer and continue to provide a secure home for shelter operations for years to come. Our AGM is being held on Thursday, March 24th, 2022 at 6:30 upstairs at Dale's Grand Market. And I wish to extend an invitation to members of council and members of the public to come to our AGM. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fothrow. Is there any questions on that report? I just think it's wonderful that the Betty White Foundation is really stepping up for that. It's great. Thank you. So senior safety, Counselor Emery.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, your worship, members of council. The last meeting of the Cumberland Senior Safety Society was February 22nd at 1:30 p.m. by Zoom. Most of the programming has either been canceled or moved to a later date due to COVID restrictions. This includes the scooter safety program and the driver safety programs. The Pen Pal program is up and running. Cumberland will be partnering with Victoria County, and the process of getting seniors connected as Pen Pals has started. This committee will be purchasing stamps to help get the cards and letters flowing. Maggie's Place created Valentine's cards for seniors, and they were distributed in Centennial Villa. There is a plan for Easter cards to be used for the Pen Pals in Victoria County as well. The Senior Safety Coordinator has done several home visits to help seniors fill out forms for assistance. Year to date, 41 visits in Amherst, 32 visits in the county. One of the forms she helps with is a Seniors Care Grant from the province of Nova Scotia. Seniors can get up to a $500 grant to help with snow removal, grocery delivery, and transportation. Budget discussions will commence in March, and the next meeting will be March 15th, also via Zoom.
Thank you. Is there any questions on the report? That takes us to the end of our agenda. And just before we adjourn, I just wanted to have a shout out to Mayor Cogan, who's joining us by Zoom this evening. And he'll be able to join us next meeting for sure. So
Thank you.
If there's nothing else on the go, I'll have a motion for adjournment. Okay,
So move.
So
Okay, Councilor Landry and Councilor Emery. Good night, everyone. Thank you.